Un-effing believable.
For this fight, drug-free sport were testing Rakimov and Joe Cordina throughout the training camp. I believe 4 tests, including UCAD tests. On the night, both UCAD and drug-free sport test. Disappointingly, both agencies only tested Joe Cordina. Rakimov chose, and I don't think it was a bad idea, to go to the hospital. And it's one thing I really don't like about UCAD, is they do not follow the fighter to the hospital.
You know, they were saying that Rakimov could barely stand up after the Joe Cordina fight where he lost his belt. And I'm on my suspicious shit right now. He might not have known that none of the agencies were not going to follow him to the ambulance to test him. And he may have been under genuine distress. Then you got Klimas making a big deal about how Rakimov was treated in hospital. MATCHROOM made sure he got to the hospital, that ambulance provision was there. But once you get to the hospital, what is it Eddie Hearn can do? I mean, we can all talk about shitty treatment that either we or our families have got from hospitals around Britain. It is what it is. You know, the hospital, they assessed Rakimov and he didn't need immediate treatment and he wasn't an emergency. Did Klimas and Rakimov ham it up a little to attempt to get out of testing with a nice little diversion that Rakimov is on his deathbed? I do genuinely believe MATCHROOM have a lot of enemies plotting against them. And I think they are unfairly treated by the media, I do. Victor Conte, he's become somewhat of a thorn in MATCHROOM's side over the PED issue. Last year he let us know that the substance that Conor BENN popped with is used to mask steroids. And now he's piped up again, post-fight Cordina Rakimov. Anybody know if Joe Cordina has done training camp drug testing for any of his recent fights? Haven't seen any mention by @MATCHROOM or @Eddie Hearn of testing done. Curious if there was training camp testing and if test results were provided to appropriate governing bodies. Cordina said, I got tested all the way through camp, so stop with your shit, you jackass. For someone who was distributing steroids all around the place, I wouldn't trust any testing that was connected to you anyways. Yeah, well, fair point, Joe. I mean, have you heard the media speak about Rakimov getting out of testing post-fight? Because when Chavez Jr. did it, I was online, and they made a big deal about it because Manny Stewart did. But no one seems to be doing that. No one seems to be picking up what Eddie Hearn said. Not Simon Jordan or any other so-called reputable sports media. Nope, nothing at all. But if Joe Cordina had missed testing, I guarantee you this would have been a big story. Huge story. You know, when Tony Yoka missed some tests, it was a big story. I remember it being a big story. But, you know, this situation here, I haven't heard the board talk about Rakimov missing testing. UCAD, you don't want to investigate this? You look how the media have handled the Zolane Tete case, where he popped pre-fight, before the fight with Jason Cunningham in July, and we didn't hear about his positive test until November. Zolane Tete, Frank Warren fighter, on a Frank Warren card. Frank having to answer no questions about this. You know, Amir Khan, he failed a PED test on the same night that he was stopped by Kell Brook in February of last year. We didn't hear about this until a year after, this year. And then you had Ben Shalom and the British Boxing Board of Control passing the buck about who heard the news first and who was supposed to do what with the information first. But neither Ben Shalom or Frank Warren have been put under the same scrutiny that Eddie Hearn has been put. I tell you what, yeah, if this had happened even just 6 years ago, like when he beat Thurman and Broner, he could have recovered from this because he still had some market value. But his earning potential now at 44, this man is begging for fights with Conor BENN. He'll take any fight he can get because there's nothing out there he can do that can generate money like he has done previously, boxing in the ring. But he's an old man now. It's going about that he has to pay $5.1 million to Paradigm Sports. But no, he actually is out of pocket for about $8 million, including legal fees as well. You know, Manny playing OPP with other people's property other people's props, other people's papes, more importantly. Conor McGregor, he responded to a tweet from Michael Benson referring to the settlement by stating, "And don't let it happen again," at Manny Pacquiao. Like, the lawsuit was filed in 2021 June, when Paradigm Sports were negotiating for Manny to fight Mikey Garcia. Then Manny went rogue and started negotiating himself. Like, what was he playing at? Like, is this Sean Gibbons? Like, I'm not saying it's his fault, but is it his incompetence dragging Manny down? Manny doesn't know how to manage money. He's a poor kid with less education than most of us. Let's keep it real, right? Why do you think he didn't get in the Senate? Pacquiao ended up breaking bread with Al Heyman. Was supposed to get that Errol Spence fight, which was netting him quite a lot of money, and we know what happened to Errol Spence. So it's all went left for Manny in the last 4 or 3 years or so. What kind of fight can he get that will pay some of that off? What made him think he could take them people's money and then go off working with Al Heyman? What made him think he could do that? But, you know, he doesn't care anyway. He doesn't care. And I'm not in the crowd saying, you know, it must be forbidden that Manny Pacquiao boxes. I'm not in that crowd. I'm not in that crowd. The man has debts. Like any of us, including Manny, have debts. You got to pay them back. Sure, Joe Louis didn't want to go back in the ring when the American government were tapping him up for taxes late in his career after he donated huge percentages of his purses to the war effort when he was already signed up in the army, doing exhibitions to entertain the troops and keep their morale high. I think Ryan Garcia could be listening to the channel, because I nailed this one almost to the last compound. Couldn't have got it more right. Check this out. This is live from the Hangout post-fight Davis Garcia. Yeah, I was saying the same thing, Anthony Mack, and I think after this that the goose and paychecks are over. I wouldn't be shocked if he tried to worm his way back into Eddie Reynoso's gym. I wouldn't be shocked. Un-effing believable. So beginning of May, we hear that Goosen and Garcia part ways after the Tank defeat.
And last, Eddie Reynoso said that, you know, Ryan reached out to maybe possibly, you know, work with Eddie Reynoso again. What do you make of all that?
So Eddie Reynoso, for me, is probably the best trainer in the world. But if you're going to be with Eddie Reynoso, you have to listen and you have to do as you're told.
That's right. Nailed it. Trust me, in the ghettos of Mexico, and they have ghetto in Mexico, there's some kids putting on some tatty pair of gloves somewhere. This kid doesn't have much. He's going to turn amateur. He's going to punch his way out of poverty, hopefully. The legal age to turn pro in most countries, probably Mexico, is 18, but we know they're getting in the ring professionally at 15 because they need the dough. Canelo, he turned pro at 15 with Eddie Reynoso in Mexico. And, like, from what I read, it wasn't because they needed the money really bad, although, they needed the money. But I think what it was, Canelo just matured too early on the amateur circuit and there wasn't too much more he could get out of it. So, turn pro is just a tougher environment in Mexico. It's a tougher environment, bro. What did I say in the Hangout? I said, sometimes we go out in the world looking for answers and they're right in front of us. Ryan couldn't have or have had a better support system, promotionally, training, than what he had. Couldn't have it no better. But you give that to someone who came up like Canelo from out of Mexico, who had to turn pro at 15 to put food on the table for his family. Come on, man. He's going to excel. More than likely, he'll excel. Or if he doesn't excel, it will just be because he just doesn't have the talent. But in terms of effort and application, he's going all in. Ryan has to go and grovel back to Eddie Reynoso, just as I said it's likely he would, because he knows he's screwed up. Ryan knows he's screwed up. Ryan has committed the cardinal sin amongst Mexican boxers. I'll be honest with you, I think black fighters and Caucasian fighters, I think they can quit and get away with it with the fan bases. Yeah, they're going to get critiqued. Yeah, they get critiqued. But you do that. The Mexican fan base. I mean, Duran came from Panama. He was mud in Panama. This man was a god in Panama. But after the Ray Leonard fight, his name was mud. But they embraced him again. He got a second chance. Teddy Bremner convinced Bob Arum to sign him to Top Rank. And he took that strap off Davey Moore, that WBA strap. And he was in everyone's good graces again. And this is Roberto Duran. It's not like he didn't fight nobody before the No Mas against Sugar Ray Leonard. No, he fought people. Like, he was the greatest lightweight ever already. He was already a Hall of Famer. It would be funny if Eddie Reynoso says, no, you can't go back in the gym. But he probably will let him back in the gym. But how is Eddie going to respond? He's going to be thinking, okay, on some smug shit, I told you so. He's going to feel vindicated that Ryan didn't do it his way. And then part of him is going to feel that he stole Eddie's moment. Eddie would have loved to be the architect of Tank Davis's first defeat in a pro ring. But Ryan denied him by running away. Ryan also has to realize that Canelo has been with Eddie since a child. Literally a child. Canelo's mother trusted her child to be in the hands of Eddie Reynoso for long periods of his life. Eddie doesn't have to justify anything to no one about Canelo. Pound for pound status, cash cow status. If you think Canelo is just another boxer in the gym, then you're mistaken. Canelo is going to have his say if he doesn't think you're pulling his weight. And Eddie is going to let him have that say. He's not just another boxer in the gym. If you can't deal with that, you've got to bounce. It would be the same in the Kronk gym. If Tommy said something to a youngster in the gym, yo, stop slacking, Emmanuel Stewart's not going to say nothing to Tommy. He's going to say, yo, you need to listen to Tommy. That's how all the top pro gymmers work. And I'm not saying it because I believe that. I've been told that and I've studied it as well. The more established pros, if you don't have the more established pros in the gym, there's no way one trainer can guide a bunch of young boxers through their careers by himself. No way. They need them more established senior pros to put some of the youngsters straight, to put some of the slackers straight. Not just another boxer. And Ryan has to accept that. If he can't accept that, then, well, it is what it is. Like I said before, the kid who's coming from similar circumstances as Canelo, from Guadalajara or whatever part of Mexico, and had to turn pro at 14, 15. And now he's got a network like DAZN, Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar, Bernard, Shane Mosley as mentors, Eddie Reynoso training, Canelo as a mentor in the gym, Oscar Valdez. They're going to take full advantage of that. Yeah. They'll probably get upset when Canelo isn't talking to them. Well, oh, he's ignoring me. Maybe he doesn't think I'm that good. But Ryan took it personal and he's got to get over that. He's still a kid. I'm going to be honest. I think if you're a white boxer or a black boxer, you can quit and get away with it a little more than if you're a Mexican boxer and the fan base perceive it that you quit. It's not a good look for you. You've got a lot to amend. That you quit in a ring as a Mexican. Chavez Sr. Guy's just like a legend. What does it say here? 37 title fights and most title fight victories, 31. 27 defenses. Whew. He's now 60 years of age. He said, it wasn't even on a punch where he hit him. What time he hit him. I'm not going to watch him anymore. I don't want to watch any more Ryan Garcia fights. Count me out. Yeah, they're that serious. They're that serious as well. Yeah? Now, do I think he would bend on that? Yeah, perhaps. But Ryan is going to have to show major resilience. He's going to have to come back and prove himself. Prove himself. None of this Instagram, TikTok. Don't talk about Canelo. Leave Canelo alone. Don't go back there again. You did that already. Don't do that again. Go in there and show you have the resilience. We'll see how serious Ryan is. We'll see how he deserves a second chance. We'll see how serious he is. Joshua BUATSI can't catch a break. He really has to perform on Saturday. He really has to perform. You know, he left Matchroom, spoke about how DAZN doesn't have no visibility for him and his fights, and then DAZN acquire a Sky channel, then a Virgin Media channel. He turns down a shot with Bivol to fight a Polish guy in Birmingham on Saturday. And then to top that off, John Ryder is going to be in Guadalajara in front of 55,000 people challenging Canelo for the undisputed super middleweight title. What is that? The biggest event, boxing event of the year, totally overshadowing Joshua Buatsi's card. Totally. The press conference is on now. There's, 420 people watching it. And then Savage Dan takes the mic and says, "Welcome to this big card in Manchester." It's Birmingham, bro. It's Birmingham. Might seem like a minor mistake, but the locals, they weren't too pleased when he said it. They weren't too pleased.
His talent is unbelievable. He's like, I look at him as a mini Evander Holyfield.
This is just a sad attempt at marketing. And it's probably going to sound like I'm hating on Joshua Buatsi. But to be honest, I produce so many receipts of what I'm saying when I talk boxing. When most people reply that you're hating, it's because you don't really have a rebuttal to anything I've said. Evander Holyfield, when did he turn pro? 2016, 2017? It's 2023. Holyfield turned pro in 84 and was world champion by 86. Joshua Buatsi had a shot against Bivol and his coach said he wasn't ready. Evander Holyfield had to fight Dwight Muhammad Cowie for his first title. What's comparable? Holyfield was undisputed champion within 4 years of turning pro. So if you're going to compare him to Holyfield, you've got to compare the development, the ambition level, the risk taking, and nothing is comparable to Holyfield. Nothing at all. I'll tell you what, yeah, social media doesn't switch off, and everything is a story. And what Buatsi said about the zone and the way he talked up Sky, people are going to be looking at the numbers tomorrow. And so is Ben Shalom. And if it doesn't live up to the hype, questions will be asked. Let's just say that. As soon as Sonny Edwards loses, or if he loses that belt, he's gone. Matchroom are going to get rid of him. Too much trouble to try and manage Sonny. I mean, how long has he been at Matchroom? It's not even a month. Is it a month? Now, a lot of people are bigging him up for his honesty. He said, "I think Conor Benn is one of the most obvious cases I've seen. Haven't got to be a body language or non-verbal expert to tell he's been lying every time he's been in front of a camera since getting caught. Walking around ringside of an AJ fight with multiple security wearing a vest gave me the ick also." Now, Eddie's response to this is going to be... Conor's response, you know, a lot of people are giving him credit for calling it as he sees it and not backing down. Some people are saying this is why Eddie skated around signing Sonny for so long, because of shit like this.
I mean, Keith Thurman, last time we tried to make the fight, said he didn't know who I was, which is beyond me because everyone, especially in the welterweight division, knows who I am. So it's like, let's make the fight.
One thing America have done successfully is stop the likes of Keith Thurman becoming stepping stones for the likes of a Conor Benn. You know, perhaps Conor gets a spectacular knockout and then goes on to get some really big fights, maybe box office, on the strength of knocking out Thurman. And they've learnt that from the AJ Charles Martin fight, where, you know, the lure of 5 million was enough for Charles Martin to go over to the O2 and get blown out, and AJ to sell out stadiums. So they're very wary of that. And it's not something Eddie can use as a go-to move no more. I'm in the minority, I guess. Probably in the minority. I really think they should make the Pacquiao fight. I don't care if Pacquiao's in his mid-40s. A lot of the great fighters from the old school had to go back in the ring in their 30s. And you might say, well, 30s isn't 40s. Well, I think fighters aged a little quicker back then, or just people in general. Yeah, and a lot of the great fighters I love, Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Louis, had to hang around a lot longer than what they should have done. So if they had to do it, I have no problem. If Manny has to do it, if Keith Thurman or any of them have to do that, I really couldn't care less. It's not my business. If you don't want to box, go university, go college and get another skill, and that way you can earn doing something else. Isn't that the way you do it? I don't feel sorry for able-bodied people like that. I don't. Nah, if Heyman or Tom Brown, perhaps, any of them dudes have still got their claws into a Keith Thurman, they're probably going to reserve him for stand-in for Errol Spence if the Crawford fight don't happen, or maybe a Boots Ennis, or one of their guys. They're not going to give him to Conor. They want to build up their own fighters on their own platform. You know, Eddie's tried to get Thurman for Conor, or Broner for Conor when he was on their PBC. And it's not happening, you know, it's not happening. And they're like, we earn more on the PBC, and perhaps they do, but I think a lot of people are skeptical if that's the truth. But no, I don't see Conor getting the Keith Thurman fight, no. Oh no. This is what we got to look forward to on Twitter. You're at Simon Jordan trying to be Michael Benson and Mike Coppinger. Simon Jordan has revealed rumours of the proposed purses for Fury versus USYK and Joshua versus Wilder in Saudi Arabia in December. So he cited Tyson Fury, £90 million. Alexander Usyk, £50 million. Anthony Joshua, £30 million. Deontay Wilder, £30 million. Eddie Hearn, not impressed. Has dropped a little smiley emoji, not impressed. Do my best Cockney accent. It's like, leave it outside. Leave it out me outside. Oh, shit. Simon Jordan is a wannabe, yeah? Mad jealous of Eddie Hearn. You know, he wants to be the oracle, you know, like, yeah, Simon Jordan knows his shit about boxing. Simon Jordan's the go-to man. And is this going to be a regular thing? Unless I hear Eddie, Frank, or Bob, or a PBC representative bringing numbers, or maybe even Coppinger or Benson, I'll listen. But no, I can't. I just can't do Simon Jordan. I can't do it. I can't do it. If he was right, that's a nice person for Tyson Fury. If he was right. But Chris Andre, big up Chris, he says, to be effed, these aren't reasonable splits. And I'm inclined to side with Chris on this one. I just don't see Tyson Fury getting a huge split like that in Saudi Arabia. 90 million and USYK 50. I'm just not sure that happens. You know, they can try that at Wembley in the UK, Frank and Bob, but the math just looks a little too lopsided in Tyson Fury's favour. Perhaps 80-60 between USYK and Fury, and the same 30-30 for Wilder and AJ.